everyone, welcome to Viva Physical Media episode 48.
48. It's been a while. It's been like almost a month since we shot an episode.
Yeah, I hope we remember how to do this.
Oh,
but
God.
I mean, I remember how to watch movies, and I remember how to talk.
I don't remember how to watch
English
movies. I don't
language,
remember how to talk about movies. I don't know how to do any of this.
Well, then this
all
will be fun. So when this comes out, Video Store Day will have already happened.
Yes, it'll be a week away.
So thank you for all of your support.
I know Video Store Day from where we are is in 2 days.
Yeah.
But I know that we will have reached our goal.
Totally easy.
So thank you.
And we would have done some, we did some crazy shit. You guys saw us. It was so fun.
You found out about Colin Froth.
Yeah, that whole thing. You saw how
you helped us raise $30,000.
You saw how beautiful we looked on YouTube live stream. We looked so gorgeous all day.
You enjoyed the Green Ghost cocktail that I made.
Ooh, yummy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all going to be very good.
Yeah, but it still isn't Halloween yet.
That's true.
So I think this comes out, I don't know, 22nd, 23rd, around that time.
This is going to be the spookiest Viva.
This should be the spookiest Viva. If there's another episode that's spookier, it'll be weird that it's so spooky.
The only thing that would make it spookier if was Kevin showed up because he's dead.
As a ghost, yeah.
Yeah, as a ghost.
Yeah.
Or a zombie.
Ooh, zombie probably. Zombie,
Stupid.
Yeah. I'm dumb. I'm traveling the world. Do you have Halloween plans? Do you have a costume?
Well, I'm going to my lady friend Jill's costume party.
I'm also going to that.
You're going to go to that, hopefully. She is going to be dressed as Gomez Addams, which is a terrific costume.
It's so good.
And her friend
also, she's right over there. That's why we keep looking off camera.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, babe. She's going to be Gomez Addams. Her friend Meredith is going to be Morticia. I am going to do like a low-key Fester.
I am really excited to see this.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. I think what we'll do is I'm not a dress-up guy. I don't really like to dress up.
No,
I think we'll put some like bags, some makeup bags under my eyes, right? And then maybe I can do like a cowl or a cape of some kind, and then a light bulb. And I'm gonna wear the light bulb on a string around my neck.
This all sounds great.
So it's just there available to me, so I can do the light bulb. But I'm not gonna shave my head.
I think I'm gonna do Pulp Fiction Mia Wallace because it's been on my back burner for years. It's been always a thing that I'm like, I should do this some year. So I think
that's excellent. I said, God damn.
So that'll be interesting. Me and my friend are gonna go see a comedian the day before. We're gonna go see Meg Stalter, who I love.
Nice.
And then I don't know. Oh, I'm having a little movie party.
We're gonna go to your Halloween party too. Yeah.
Yeah. Rich, you might be able to make it after work for the second movie for Night
You
Breed.
people aren't invited.
Yeah, sorry, you guys can't come. We will not publicize my address. Sorry. But everyone here was going to come.
Do we have mailbag?
We have mailbag. So yeah, we can go into mailbag.
Let's do mailbag.
Want to go into mailbag? It's a spooky mailbag. Only not really, because I don't think either of these are spooky questions.
No, they really aren't.
No.
That's okay.
That's fine.
We're always happy to have your questions. If you want to send us questions...
Where do we send those?
Send those to. You can snail mail them to us.
Ooh.
Scarecrow Video, care of Viva Physical Media, 5030 Roosevelt Way, Seattle, Washington.
Wait, you forgot the Northeast.
Seattle, Washington.
5030 Roosevelt Way, Northeast.
Seattle, Washington, 98105.
Yes.
Or
Viva@scarecrow.com.
Or
come on in.
At Physical Viva on Twitter.
Or at his or my Twitter, or whatever.
That's yes. Or you can at Cornel Mortimer, at whatever okay.
No, I think my Twitter's E Soderback.
Is it E Soderback?
I think it might be.
I always think it's whatever okay. Whenever I look you up, I always do whatever okay first.
And it works?
I think it's because I've looked it up so many times that it just
you guys will find me. It'll be fine.
Please send us some questions.
Yeah. Yeah, we love hearing from you guys. Questions about the store, questions about movies, recommendations you want to give us. Or if you're like, I really love this movie, what other movies do you guys want to recommend? That's fun to do.
Send us pictures of your pets.
Pictures. Okay, it's going to be Halloween. We would love to see Halloween costumes of you guys in like movie costumes or your pets.
Spoopy pet costumes, like send us all of the spoopy pet costumes.
And if you're doing the Psychotronic challenge, let us know how that's going, all that stuff.
For sure.
But we do have 2 mailbags today.
You go.
And I will go first. This one's from Connor Holt. Hello, Viva team. I just saw Don Bluth at a convention here in Los Angeles. Growing up, I adored The Land Before Time and Titan AE, but I feel like they don't get talked about enough today. What are your favorite Don Bluth films or other animated films that are underrated? Connor. Well, Connor, I'm glad you asked.
You go. Go first.
I love Don Bluth. I loved all those movies when I was a kid, and I think I will do a special shout out. All are great. I mean, they're not great even, but like
I have not seen a chunk of them.
I've seen most, if not all of them. Land Before Time is definitely probably my favorite growing up. But I gotta do a weird shout out to The Pebble and the Penguin, which was talked about before on this show because I said Macaroni Penguin. And I don't even remember what happened with that, but maybe that's not what it's called. I don't know. And then Rockadoodle, the Elvis Rooster movie.
That was a Don Bluth?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And Troll in Central Park. These are the ones that don't get talked about that I do remember loving. But almost anything Don Bluth has that weird, like, it's just not as like wholesome and fairy tale-y as Disney shit. It like is a little bit nightmarish, and that's why I love it. Anastasia.
I feel like in the formal animation department, like the characters move in a very specific way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Don Bluth wise?
I mean, I saw Land Before Time and An American Tail in
American
theaters
Tail.
as a child.
I wish.
And I loved them both when I was a kid. But I feel like, and I mean, he did Secret of Nim, right?
Yeah, that is
so that
iconic.
that is like
Truly.
Psychically penetrative in a way that you don't see in a children's film anymore. I did, but many years later.
Yeah, I was in elementary school and one of my teachers read us aloud the book.
And it's very different. Seeing that as a child was kind of scarring.
It's weird. I rewatched that probably like 7 or 8 years ago, and it's so short. It's like I feel like it's like 65 minutes long or something.
It's
like
very
really short. But it's really fucked up scary.
It's really fucked up scary. It's like the movie they made out of it does not really belie the content of the book. The book is like Plague Dogs fucked up. It's very unpleasant.
Yeah.
A big Don Bluth fan. I didn't see a lot of his like later stuff. Like I didn't see Anastasia. I haven't seen that.
I like that a lot.
But I've always really appreciated his character design. And like I said, I feel like when I watch one of his films versus, let's say, sort of the standard Disney fare of the time, the way that he animates his characters, the way that they move, seems a little bit more physical than they do in the sort of standard Disney stuff.
I can see that.
There's something going on there. I don't have the vocabulary to sort of articulate what's going on, but I think there's a very distinctive presence with him.
Also, storytelling wise, the darkness that he includes does a lot to like further the character development and everything. It just makes for a more compelling story. What we should do on the show is All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Oh, hell yeah.
But I'm also like sad about it.
That's a Don Bluth one?
Yeah.
I saw that in the theater too.
I watched it a lot as a kid, and we should probably throw that on the old queue.
We'll sing it's called We're Duos or something. It's like the main, it's like the song between whoever plays the main dog, and it might be Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise.
Love a Dom DeLuise.
And they sing a song about how they're like best friends.
I've seen pain and hurt.
That's right.
I've eaten dirt.
That's true.
Dom DeLuise was the cat in American Tail, right? The nice cat.
Yeah, I think so, right. Also, I mean, he was like a big, a good friend of Burt Reynolds who frequently abused him on camera.
He was the best foil in the world, and I loved stepping on his foot in the middle of a scene, and he would cry.
Good.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. Okay, my turn.
So Connor Holt, thank you for that. Thank you for reminding us that we should do All Dogs Go to Heaven too.
That's an amazing idea. I think, we'll talk about this later, but the dog movie we were going to do for this episode has been postponed.
Yes.
But after the one that we postponed for tonight, maybe we'll do All Dogs Go to Heaven. We got one more mailbag from our good friend, Will Goss.
Will Goss.
My good friend, your good friend, Rich's good friend. You both got to hang out with him at Fantastic Fest very recently.
It was fun.
A wonderful person. one of my favorite people. We talk almost every day. What's the first film that either of you remember owning on physical media, as in actively sought out, saved up for, or asked for as a gift?
This is hard.
Rich, feel free to chime in as well. P.S. Thanks for all your hard work. That part's only for Rich. Thank you, Will. That's a great question.
Thanks, Will.
I think Rich should go first
Yes,
this time.
I do.
It's easy. It was a Blair Witch Project.
Oh, cool.
That's the first movie you bought? You and I?
On DVD. I never bought any. Okay. That's the first DVD I ever bought. Myself. I didn't buy a lot of VHS, like my parents maybe did, but I didn't really collect it or buy any. But one VHS I did go after at Suncoast, and had a special order, was The Last Broadcast.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
When Blair Witch came out,
I
it
just
was
bought
like, what's
that
this movie about?
beautiful fucking Arrow of Last Broadcast
So it was
that
around
just
the
came
same
out.
time.
Yeah, it just came out.
Okay, do you want me to?
No, you go. I go last.
So I don't remember. Okay, so I don't remember. I feel like I don't know if I've talked about this on the show before, but I didn't really get into like movies until probably like really late teens or in college. So I feel like I bought a lot of stuff at like thrift stores and like half-price books. I remember getting the first VHS I owned. I remember I had Annie Hall,
How old are you buying Annie Hall?
like 16.
Hell yeah.
A Walk to Remember, Mandy Moore. Say Anything, John Cusack. Those are like my big three. And then I remember my parents had Titanic and Pearl Harbor on VHS, which I stole from them and watched over and over again. The first, I don't remember like even buying DVDs. I feel like when I started buying DVDs, I just bought like 10 of them at a time at like Value Village and shit. Like
Right.
I don't even remember the first time I spent like actual money on a DVD until like way later, but I do remember I was like, okay, well maybe I'll think of like what the first Criterion movie I bought was, because that's when I first was like, oh, a boutique label. That was like my first experience with that. And my first Criterion collection movie I think was Noah Baumbach's Kicking and Screaming.
Wow.
And that
Yeah.
I was probably like 19.
That's a great movie. The last time I watched that movie, I was struck by how much it reminded me of my own sort of college experience.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I behaved that way.
What's funny
Thumbs
is
down.
when I first watched that movie, I realized where like 80% of my friend Corey's jokes came from. I was like, oh, you're doing a C+ today? That's cool. That's from that movie. Exactly. Thanks for telling me. So it
That's wonderful.
was like that, and the other half was like Stella. And I was like, okay, that's who you are.
Right. I don't remember the first things I actively sought out
Yeah.
to collect, but I do remember the first VHS tapes I was given as gifts. And it was when I was very, very young, like 5, 6 years old. For Christmas, I got VHS copies of Goldfinger and The Empire Strikes Back, which to this day is my favorite film. And those are my first original ones. Now, when I was older and I started to get into collecting physical media, that's from the Laserdisc period. And I know that this is really answering the question, but buying Laserdiscs was its own. It's very different from the way you will buy a Blu-ray now. I had a copy of 7 from the Criterion Collection on Laserdisc that was $125.
Okay, I was just about to ask, like, how much did they sell laser discs for?
There was a spectrum. Most Laserdiscs retailed for about $40.
Okay.
And the thing about those was that they would come out like day and date with the regular home video release of a title, but the VHS would be priced for rental. So to purchase the VHS would be like $100, $125.
Yeah, you see some of the VHS we have around the store, and it'll be like MSRP $99
Yeah,
or something,
exactly.
which is really funny because now, you know, you go to like Goodwill and you get a VHS for like 25
It's a quarter.
cents or whatever.
Yeah. But at the time, they were priced to sell to video stores, so they would rent them out.
Yeah.
And then like months later, they would go to what's called sell-through.
Right.
And then that's when they would be like previously viewed $14.99 or $8.99 or something like that. But Laserdiscs, you would be able to buy them and keep them for relatively cheaper than a VHS tape on the same day that the tape was released to video stores.
And the album art kind of
Yeah.
vibe, you know?
Yes, absolutely, much more. And Criterion put out a lot of really great Laserdiscs, so I have a lot of those things. I remember buying the Laserdisc of Contact.
Do you have a Laserdisc player?
Not anymore.
Still? No.
It died.
Yeah.
But I lasted for like 15 years. But like the Laserdisc of Contact had 3 commentary tracks on it.
Wow.
Stuff like that. The first DVDs I ever got came with my first DVD player. So this is 1996 or something like that. I bought a DVD player.
And it came with DVDs.
You were able, and also, by the way, like, how much is a DVD player now? It's like less than $50.
Yeah, it's like $35.
When I bought my first DVD player, it was $500.
That's insane, Matt.
Yep.
Okay, you guys.
Rich is giving me the thumbs up.
Don't even,
That's what they cost.
Don't repeat
It
this
was
to
a
anyone.
it was a
anyone
Panasonic.
who's watching, but I still don't have a
Yeah.
region-free player because I can't. I don't want to spend that much money, and that's not even close to how much that.
Not even
that's
close.
like $100, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I am gonna get by. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, that was how much a DVD player cost. But it came with a coupon for 2 DVDs for free out of like a selection of a bunch of titles that you could get right there at the Best Buy. They would give them to you on your
What
way
did you
home.
get?
My first 2 were Total Recall and Lethal Weapon 3.
Yeah, that all makes sense to you. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
very on brand.
Very on brand.
Yeah, and that DVD player lasted me a very long time. It was a good player.
They don't fuck around.
Sturdy.
Like I
mean, I swear
remember-
the thing weighed 20 pounds. It was huge.
I had in my childhood bedroom, I had one of those little TVs that had the built-in VCR underneath, and I had that
I had
from
2
when
of
I
those.
was like 7 years old to like literally like I believe it's even still in my parents' like craft room right now. Like
Yeah.
I feel my sister used it after I left, so 20 years maybe.
Yeah.
You know.
Talking about accumulating physical media, I had a 19-inch television with a built-in VCR. That was my like college dorm room
Yeah.
TV. And I would program it to record off what was then called the Independent Film Channel, which is now just known as IFC.
IFC.
But back then, all they used to show was licensed movies from Criterion, Voyager, Janus.
Yeah.
And so coming into college, I'm 17, hadn't been able to have access to a lot of like, say, Kurosawa movies, things that Janus had the rights to, and I would just like put an 8-hour SLP
Recording?
VHS tape into my
wow.
player and program it to record IFC from like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and
Okay.
just go and then see what I got when I
The
came home.
version of that for me, because I'm a little bit younger, was that I had a really shitty 13-inch MacBook, and that's how I watched all my movies in film school.
Hell yeah.
And I got most of my movies, well, I got them a lot from here actually when I first started, and then also fucking torrenting off the Pirate Bay, baby.
Yeah.
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
We all
And
did it. It needs to be done.
I would go to a LiveJournal. There was a LiveJournal, what do you even call them? Like what site or whatever that was called like film stills. And I would go and I would just see what people would upload, and it would always be like weird stills from movies I'd never heard about. And then I'd write down those titles, and then I'd go in the Pirate Bay and I'd torrent them. And that's how I got my film education before I started hanging out at Scarecrow.
Stealing is okay.
It's okay if you need to.
Yeah, if you need to,
you know,
go ahead and do it.
Go for it.
Watch the movies.
Watch
the movies
the-
are important.
Watch the movie. That's it. Watch the movies. So thanks, Will Goss.
Thank you, Will Goss. Thank you, Connor Holt. And thank you for all the great questions.
Yes, Viva at
And
Scarecrow.com.
please send us more questions. We love your questions, and we love answering your questions.
Yep.
So thank you very much.
Hey y'all, that's who I am,
Hi.
I guess. Hey y'all, we want to let you guys know some results of one of our favorite
it's been a
segments.
break.
It's been a break. We're not doing a new Raunch versus Rom segment right now, but you guys really came through voting last time.
Do you know what you're doing next time? Because I know what I'm doing.
I don't.
Okay. I was going to say we could announce it,
We could, but we're not.
but you can't. Okay.
I do want to kind of bring up how I'm doing this, because I know someone on the last YouTube was like, well, it should be raunchier. So here's how I'm doing it, you guys. It all started because we have a comedy room upstairs, and there's a lot of raunchy movies up there. And so how I'm doing it is I'm going alphabetically, and if I look at the box and it looks like it's marketed as a raunch, I'm going to take it and watch it. So that's why it's surprising when things like Drive-In or other things aren't as raunchy as one might think. So I also want it to be more raunchy for sure, but it really all depends on what I grab and how it's marketed. And that's kind of like the fun thing about it. And then how you are doing the rom-com is just like,
I'm
whatever
going
you-
through my catalog of
Yeah.
like, what haven't I seen?
Exactly.
What have I skipped?
and that makes it more of a fun physical media thing
Yeah.
for us. Like, we're not really working off any pre-disclosed lists, you know?
I am going next
your
time.
list.
I'm not going to tell people what it is, but the next time we do a Raunch versus Rom, I'm going for a movie I've already seen and liked many years ago. I haven't seen it in like over a couple of
Okay.
decades, but I
Do you
am.
think I've seen it?
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't know for sure.
problem.
But also I want to do this because I have been burned the last few times, and I want to do something that I can really go to bat for. I
know.
just want to be able to advocate, because the last
know,
couple
you
times it's
haven't.
been like,
You haven't
I didn't really like this too much.
And so that brings us to who our winner was for last time. I'm so sorry, but 2 weeks notice got 0 votes.
I know, nobody liked that.
Got 0 votes, and
I didn't
that's
like
not
it.
for a lack of votes, because Drive-In got 13 votes.
Well, I think that everybody made the right choice, because 2 weeks notice was not very good.
Yes.
But
If you guys ended up tracking down and watching Drive-In, let me know if you liked it.
if you bothered to watch 2 weeks notice,
Let us know how
let
that
us know how
goes.
that went for you.
This time, Drive-In is the winner with 13
Yeah.
votes. The Raunch
I
does.
would say that that's a good choice.
I would say too.
Congratulations, everybody, on being correct.
Stay tuned for either next episode or the episode after for our new Raunch versus Rom.
I think the next episode
Probably the
will have
next
a new Raunch versus
Yeah.
Rom. Yeah.
Cool.
And I have a really good one lined up for me. I don't know what you're doing.
I
but
don't know.
I know
I'll
what
have to
I'm
wander
doing.
upstairs and look, man. It's all luck of the draw. For my first movie, I'm going to talk about Eyes Without a Face. By, I'm not French, Georges Franju.
George Franju?
Georges Franju.
Yeah.
So this movie is really great. 1960, sorry. It's about a surgeon / scientist guy. His daughter got into a car accident that he was responsible for.
Accident de voiture. Le hasard.
Le hasard. Son besoin de dominer tout le monde, même sur une route. Il conduisait comme un dément.
And his life goal is to fix his daughter's fucked up face, basically.
Her stupid face.
Her stupid face. Her face was disfigured in the car accident, so he fakes her death
C'est bien elle.
so that he can just keep her roaming around their huge mansion with a white kind of plaster mask on
Haunting.
that he makes sure that she wears. She doesn't necessarily want to wear it. There's times when he's like, you need to put your mask back on. And he just wants to keep this beautiful picture of his daughter alive. So he gets the help of his assistant, whose name is Louise, just like my dog, because he fixed her face plastic surgery wise before. Not to this extent, but in some way where she feels like she owes him, basically. So this woman goes out and hunts down beautiful girls, drugs them, and then this guy tries to basically cut their faces off and transplant them to his daughter. This is fucked too.
Seems
because-
reasonable to me.
This is fucked too, because did you know that the first successful face transplant wasn't until like 2005?
I didn't.
So this is like 1960. So this shit was, of course, not working.
Cutting edge technology.
Cutting edge. This movie's great. It's super eerie. This girl is just roaming around this castle with her white plastic mask on. John Carpenter said it was part of the inspiration for the Halloween mask.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's done. She's done with her father's experiments. She just wants to live her life, or she wants to just fucking die, basically.
Je veux mourir. Je vous en supplie. En bas, il y a des ampoules. Ces piqûres qu'on fait aux chiens quand tout arrache.
She is kept captive there.
I feel that.
And she just has to see all these beautiful women being taken and then being surgically performed on. Nothing works. She'll get a face transplant and it won't take.
C'est raté.
Because like I said, face transplants didn't fucking work until like mid-2000s. It's a really creepy movie. It's very atmospheric, it's haunting, and it has a very good for her ending, you know, which we all love. It's part of the good for her cinematic universe, where I'm just gonna spoil it, so if you don't want to know, you can stop watching.
Spoiler alert.
She goes in and there's a woman who the local police caught for shoplifting, and they're like, they fuck her over so bad. They blackmail her and they're like, we won't charge you for this if you since you're really hot, you should go undercover at this crazy guy's castle and be a patient of his to see what goes on there, because we think something fucked up's happening because a lot of women are going missing. And she's like, fine, I don't want to like pay for my shoplifting charge. So she goes undercover and she ends up being captive and about to have surgery done on her.
ACAB, man, really, this is out of control.
Truly. Eventually, the daughter kills the assistant, stabs her in the neck, through these pearl necklaces that concealed her only scar that she had from her facial transplant. There's a beautiful scene where she goes through and lets all the dogs that he has in these tiny little cages, all these good boys, she lets them out because they love her. So it doesn't matter that she's ugly or that she has no face. They love her. And then they all attack her dad and they kill her, and it's just an amazing, very satisfying ending. Super creepy, unsettling. There's a really creepy, like actual like facial transplant scene. They had to tone this down so that they wouldn't get censored for the wrong reasons. I guess they had to like, it's based off of a novel, and they had to tone down the mad scientist bit because they were worried about like, the Wikipedia was like, they were worried about the German censors for the mad scientist part. They were worried. They were worried for the animal abuse stuff for the French censors, and they were worried for like something else for something else. So they toned it all down, but the minimalism vibe that they got like actually really adds
like
to the
exacerbates how.
Yeah, it adds to how like fucked up and weird it is. Everyone check out Eyes Without a Face. Super creepy. Yeah, I think that's all I really have to say about it. I was actually thinking of being her for Halloween, too.
Oh, that's a good one. The mask is really
mask and then, like,
haunting.
A vintage
It's
nightgown.
such an iconic image.
It's so good, because she's trapped in it, too, you know? Like, she is not your antagonist. She's just like, my father is... It's his idea to try to make me more beautiful, and she just wants to live her life, so... Awesome movie. Check it out. It's on Criterion Blue. Good stuff.
Souris. Souris.
My first pick this episode is a movie that I have liked for a really long time that kind of came out of nowhere and snuck up on me when I first saw it. I have grown to really love the subsequent works by the filmmakers. It's by Bruno Forzani and Helene Cantet's Amer. This is a tremendous sort of giallo. You know what? Calling it a giallo homage is reductive. It is more an homage to 40 years of Eurocore genre filmmaking. It is ostensibly a triptych. It's sort of, you could look at it as an anthology film. It has 3 distinct stories, but they do follow the same character, a young woman named Anna who goes from, you know, like childhood into adulthood. But mostly this is an examination of the Euro genre, like Euro horror obsession with sex and death. Incredibly stylish, and it has sort of 3 distinct parts. So the first film, the short, is a very Mario Bava-esque story about a young girl who encounters her like aging grandmother who may or may not be of supernatural origin.
Probably.
And there's like a lot of gorgeous shots of like this old scary lady covered in black lace. The second part is when Anna is a young woman and she is sort of exploring her sexuality and she falls in with these bikers. It has a very sort of Tinto Brassy, like Italo sexploitation, late 70s vibe to it. And then the final part is the more pure giallo section where there's a, you know, black-gloved killer with razor blades trekking her throughout this mansion in which she finds herself. It's more stylized than it is anything else. I wouldn't necessarily suggest that there's anything more interesting going on than sort of interrogating the genre formally.
So that's where I watched this probably in like whenever it first came out, maybe like a year after it came out, and I had a lot of trouble with enjoying it because maybe because of that, maybe because it lacked a cohesive narrative, and I don't know, because I like shit that doesn't, but I haven't revisited it, and it just didn't click for me.
To me, it's more of an examination of an entire body of cinema, not just a giallo, not just a serial killer movie, not just the Tinto Brass Sexplo
That's
stuff.
why maybe if I rewatched it now,
It's like
looking
full.
back.
It's like a full Eurocore retro, compacted it into 90 minutes, and exploring the ways in which that whole breadth of filmmaking exploited women and dealt with the way that like we are looking at them at all the time.
Like this death and this torture is stylish.
Yeah, and it is important to note that, like, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
You know, we follow this main character from the time that she's a young girl to the point where she's an adult and is murdered by a serial killer. But the last shot of the film involves her coming back to life. So what we are doing is exploring her identity as a movie character in the way that it relates to her being in a film, the way that we look at women in movies like this, the way that they endure and exist for us inside of these contexts. Also, beyond all of that film school bullshit, this is gorgeous, so stylish. The music is incredible.
Beautiful.
The needle drops are out of this world. It is thoroughly exciting. It's only 90 minutes. It just burns through beautiful shot to beautiful shot. Incredible needle drop to incredible needle drop. The end credits of this movie that use a piece of music by a composer named Stelvio Cipriani, maybe my favorite piece of non-diegetic music ever. I'll never get tired of enjoying this.
Yeah.
And it is just, if you are a person like me that enjoys this specific strain of filmmaking in the way that I do, this will be sort of like both refresher course and new doorway. It's really tremendous.
That's why I think that I should rewatch it, because I feel like maybe when I watched it, I didn't have as much knowledge of the films it was kind of celebrating before. And maybe I'll find like a deeper connection with it now that I, you know, in the last 10 years or whatever, that I've seen and enjoy all this like Italian and Euro horror.
I think that the connection is like purely aesthetic. Like, I don't really think that this movie is very deep.
Yeah.
But I do think that it is doing something interesting within the confines of its genre choice.
Yeah.
I think it's doing something really cool.
My next movie is Carnival of Souls. 1962. I'm giving you guys the atmospheric black and white 60s shit that you need to watch this Halloween season. Carnival of Souls, directed by Herc Harvey, who didn't really direct many, if any, movies.
He was an industrial filmmaker.
Yeah, he did educational films. I looked up on Letterboxd. He did do a Halloween educational film about Halloween safety that I really want to track down.
It's like razor blades in the candy apples.
Yeah, I think so. Or like how to carve your pumpkin without like stabbing yourself. And I really want to track that down.
But here's the scariest monster of all. Do you know why? This little witch doesn't know it, but she's taking some frightening chances of being hurt. Maybe badly hurt. Ow, that hurts. Whoops, down she goes again.
I didn't look up how hard it was.
I wonder if we have it on one of our like safety films.
We might. If you guys didn't know, we do have a whole section up in the literature room for like educational films, which are really fun to watch. $33,000 budget, super low, independent budget, black and white movie. It starts out with these girls in a car, and this other car of guys kind of pulls up next to them and is like,
"Hey Joe, drag your foot, boy. Look what we got here. Hey, you want to drag, huh? Sure."
Also, half this movie is like overdubbed, which makes it really like weird and unsettling. I know people say Lynchian all the time, but I feel like this is Lynchian in a way that people don't really
I agree.
say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's not just formal, it's the vibe.
Yeah,
it's all there.
The vibe. So they race, and then the car full of women. eventually we see this woman crawl out onto the dock, and it's like such a creepy scene of her coming out soaking wet and being like the survivor of this crash, and it's our main character. I didn't write down the actress's name, but she's fucking great in this. And then we follow her for the rest of the film. We follow her life. She is an organist and she wants to move. So it takes place in Kansas. She moves to Salt Lake City and everything's off. She moves, she goes to work at a church. She already has told people she's not religious. She just wants to make money and she knows how to play the organ.
It's just a job to me.
Well, it's not quite the attitude for going into church work.
I'm not taking the vows. I'm only going to play the organ.
So she has all these really off encounters with the people, the landlord that's renting her apartment.
You can take all the baths you want. I'm not one to fuss about things like that.
The weird guy that lives across the hall from her apartment that really wants to like have sex with her, and she's like, I don't really want you around unless I'm feeling vulnerable and scared, then I want a man around, and it's that kind of thing. And he's like, well, let's just have sex.
Looks kind of lonesome in here.
Because he's a douchey guy. She goes to the church that she's going to play organ at, and the guy is kind of making her feel bad about not believing in like Jesus and shit. And then eventually gets super mad at her for like playing like creepy organ music rather than like holy organ music, which there is a difference. It doesn't all sound haunted like it does in my brain. He comes at her after she kind of like goes into a trance and she's playing this organ music, and he goes after her and he's like,
profane, sacrilege. What are you playing in this church?
Okay, we do not play that kind of music in our church. You are now fired because that is the devil's music, basically. Everyone she talks to, everything's a little off. And eventually, in a very Twilight Zone type of way, I believe the first instance is she goes shopping in a department store. And she goes to check out and no one acknowledges her. And she's like, hey, I would like to check out. And they're kind of like looking beyond her. At that moment, all of the diegetic sound, like all of the like normal cash registers, people talking sound is gone. And it's all this creepy organ music. And you realize that no one is seeing her existing in this life. That happens for a while until it goes back and she starts hearing birds and she starts hearing traffic, and then it goes back to being normal. All the while, she is hauntingly drawn to this abandoned carnival structure along the coast. And it's an abandoned carousel, a big slide and all this stuff, and she just keeps wanting to go back there. And it's just this kind of exploration of her living in this weird dimension that we're not sure if it's her actually living or if it's her living in the like dimension of the second before she passes away, or the second before she survives, or the second after the accident. And all of this on such a minimal budget, it's so effective, and that almost makes it more effective in the weird dubbing and the weird sound. I talked to Matt earlier. You're also.
This is one of my all-time favorite movies. Yeah, I love this movie so much.
I stumbled upon this movie not knowing at all what it was. I was just like, oh, it's another like 50s, 60s.
This might be my favorite
haunted movie.
Like straight up horror movie. Yeah. Like there are other movies I think are scarier, but this is one of my favorite pure horror films.
And it's just so weird. It's one of those things that it's creepy because of the little differences and the little like switches of reality that makes things a little weird and offsetting and unsettling. And the organ score is super haunting. You also know that this movie's cool because it's sampled in Lana Del Rey's 13 Beaches.
Don't belong in the world. That's what it is.
Clips are featured in Drake's music video for Knife Talk.
I gotta feed the streets. My pistol gonna bleed the streets. Ski mask on my face. Sometimes you gotta cheat.
And I believe it's referenced in Phoebe Bridgers, one of Phoebe Bridgers' music videos.
It's in the public domain.
The kids love it.
That might be why.
The kids fucking love it, even if they haven't seen the whole thing. But yeah, it's super effective. It's atmospheric. I would recommend both the movies I talked about today, back to back, even if you want to do like a weird, eerie, unsettling, black and white 60s horror night. I think that would be good. Or if you want to, one of my favorites, Repulsion. If you want to go Carnival of Souls with Repulsion, I feel like that would also be a good
back to back. Those would be insane.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
And then you might want to like lock your doors and not talk to any men in your life for like a week.
In this movie, I feel like I am scared of the paint peeling.
It's just like everything around her, you're like, that's not right. Even if you can't say what's not right about it.
No, you feel like the radioactive ticking off of your life.
And that's why it's so dreamlike, and that's why I say it's so Lynchian, is because you have a dream about a normal thing, but all of a sudden you realize that you're in a dream because one thing's not happening, or one thing's not working right, or the doorknob's on the other side.
The fact that it was made by this industrial filmmaker, it's like almost anti-atmospheric. Like all the atmosphere is accidental.
It's because he saw a structure like the Carnival one in the movie, and he was like, you know,
I could make a movie
there.
there.
You know what'd be crazy is to like do a movie about that.
Yeah. For all you're saying about how stylized it is, it's like almost under-stylized.
It's a circle. It's under-stylized so much, and it's low budget so much that the choices that it makes become really intentional and therefore become more stylized.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece. I'm so glad that you brought it up.
Yeah, this is the old cover for Criterion, but they did release a newer cover. It's just checked out right now, and I'm too lazy to go get it. Super creepy. Also, the director plays this kind of ghoulish figure that haunts her and stalks her throughout the life that she is living. So check out Carnival of Souls this Halloween season.
Now me, I not only drink really, I really drink.
So my second pick is a little bit more esoteric than usual, even though this wound up on the Criterion Collection. One of my favorite films from the last couple of years, Olivier Assayas's film Personal Shopper. With Kristen Stewart. This is an incredibly esoteric film about a young woman who works as personal shopper for a very famous actress.
I think I'll take both bags and this belt. You know, her. Don't want to risk it.
Yeah, I would want the brown for sure.
Or the blue, or neither. She gave me a blank check. Do you take deposits?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure, it's 4,500.
But also is a clairvoyant, a medium, who believes that she can interact with ghosts.
There was a presence. I felt something I just can't. I can't tell, it was too far.
She is in between working for her boss, who, you know, for whom she shops, for whom she schedules appointments. She is also trying to make contact with her recently deceased twin.
You're staying here to mourn.
No, I'm waiting. I told you I was waiting.
What are you waiting for?
So we made this oath. Whoever died first would send the other a sign.
Who died either by suicide or by a heart condition. It's not entirely clear. And she may indeed have the same heart condition that may have killed him. And so she is trying to contact, you know, in the ether, her deceased brother. Also, during this movie, there is a stalker who is contacting her via text message. And in my opinion, the greatest cinematic sequences of any movie of the last 20 or 30 years, there's an extended sequence where she boards a train to go from where she's at to Paris and has an extended conversation via text with who is either a regular person who is stalking her or a ghost. Kristen Stewart texting with a ghost for 35 minutes.
It's amazing.
Is maybe the most intense cinematic experience you can possibly imagine.
Honestly, who else but her could sell it like that, I feel like.
Can we talk about how tantalized I am by how she leaves a space between the end of her sentences and the punctuation?
That's interesting.
So it's like,
sometimes
are you a ghost? Space, question mark?
Okay, sometimes I do that with an exclamation point.
She does it all the time.
I feel like it really emphasizes that it is a question or it is an exclamation. So I'm with Kristen on this one.
It's incredible. She is unfailingly curious and terrified at the same time. There is also a lot of subtext in this going on about just her locating herself in her universe, like who I am in relation to who I work with, who am I in relationship to the spirit world that I have this incredible contact with. And the idea that this has something to do with how we relate to storytelling and how movies play out in our lives. This is a pitch perfect and an almost quintessential Olivier Assayas movie. And that
Are you a fan of that director?
I love almost everything that he's done.
Yeah, me too.
I wish he would go back to more of his sort of weird genre stuff like Demon Lover or Born Gate. Demon Lover or Born Gate are amazing. My favorite movie of his is Carlos, his epic.
I never saw.
His epic biography of the terrorist Carlos the Jackal. Incredible, probably the best movie of its decade.
Okay.
But I mean, this is on a whole other level. It's doing something entirely different. It deals with the way that we look at women, the way that women look at themselves, the way that we engage with social media.
Yeah, realms of communication for
Realms
sure.
of communication. Are we communicating with ourselves? Are we communicating with nobody? The idea of her texting with her boss and the idea of her texting with a ghost are interchangeable situations in this. There's so much going on here. And it manages to also have like a gross murder and a spooky ghost story. There's so much happening in this movie. It's one of my favorite films of its decade. You cannot go wrong with this. And I love Kristen Stewart. She's one of my favorite actresses. I like to talk about her in the way that, you ever watch the old Looney Tunes where like Bugs Bunny will have a tuning fork or somebody will have a tuning fork and like they'll strike the tuning fork and they vibrate instead of the tuning fork?
That's the vibe.
So Kristen Stewart is the tuning fork. Everyone else in the movie is reacting to how she behaves. She is one of the greatest actresses of her generation, and this is maybe my favorite performance of hers. You must see Personal Shopper.
All right, if you're not going to watch Personal Shopper after all of that, then we can't help you, and I don't know what you're watching, to be honest.
It's so good, and you can't go wrong. One of my favorite films of the last few years.
Louis, is that you?
So I know last episode we told you guys that we were going to be watching a dog movie called
Wonton, the dog who saved Hollywood.
But then
we forgot it was spooky times.
Yeah, we realized that this would be basically our Halloween episode, and of course we want to give you guys a spooky, scary dog movie.
Mm-hmm.
So we pivoted.
Yeah, we pivoted instantly. We came up with this like one night and watched it the next night.
Like earlier this week, yeah. So we decided to watch 1977's The Pack.
Directed by Robert Klaus, who also directed Enter the Dragon,
Game of
and
Death,
Black Belt Jones,
and Jim Cotta.
Yeah, the great Jim Cotta. If you wanted to see a movie about a wild pack of angry dogs attacking a town, I'm not sure you can do better than this one.
This is it. If you guys remember when me and Kevin talked about the movie Dogs that I believe came out a year before this.
Which was good.
And it was more urban, more suburban than this. This is literally about an island, a small town like village.
Isle of Dogs.
Basically, Isle of Dogs, but not as fun. No, but fun,
it's actually more fun.
It's more fun.
Yeah.
Isle of Dogs was not very good.
So there's this island, and it's called Seal Island, I believe, which is a real place, Nova Scotia, Canada.
And it's owned by Joe Don Baker. No, he just lives there.
Okay. These tourists come during the summer, and then for some reason they're like, we can't bring our dogs back with us to the city, so
we'll let them go.
You don't think we'll find someone in the city to take care of it?
No, I don't. Look, we'd end up giving it to the pound, and they'd end up gassing it, which is exactly what would have happened if we hadn't come along.
And it's so much that it's not just one or two times. Like, this is just a thing that happens. People just leave their dogs in the woods.
Sometimes they get lost. Sometimes tourists, they deliberately leave them behind.
They pick them up the pound, they bring them over to play with for the summer, and then they leave them.
The abandoned dogs form a pack.
At the dump, basically.
At the
they
dump.
all hang out at the dump.
And I mean, like, is it implied that they're rabid?
I'll bet you a couple of those dogs are rabid.
They become rabid after a while.
We never see them, like, get bitten by, like,
no,
a bat or something.
But it's like they learn that humans abandoned them, and they have to survive, and also whatever else happens nature-wise that makes them rabid.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny because you mostly just see all these kind of mixed mutts and everything. But
there's
a
a
while,
Dalmatian.
There's a while where it just shows, like, there's like a Dalmatian.
And then, like, Joe Don Baker moves to the island with his new fiance.
They're there because he is a ecology type.
Then he tied up with our fishing game, and they sent him over here for 2 years to study shrimp.
Yeah, Joe Don Baker seems like a real conservationist.
Totally.
Yeah.
So they come
like a
during
man
the
of
fall
action.
after all the tourists leave. And they have their own dog.
They do. And they're going to
Rye.
build a new house.
They're building a new house.
And
They
then-
have a dog named Rye, who's a German Shepherd.
Also, beautiful German Shepherd, by the way. There are so many good boys in this movie.
All of these, like, honestly, the shining star of this movie is whoever trained the dogs. And all these dogs, because they're good boys and girls, for sure.
For sure. And then also there's some visiting people, like the guy who has a large adult son.
I looked it up, and they were there because of some sort of bank thing. They were like they're doing some sort of investment on the island. They're bougie, rich yuppies, and there's.
But the guy has, like, I guess it's his girlfriend?
It's his wife.
But he wants his wife to have sex with his son?
Yes, because he thinks his son's a loser.
And his son, like, the dad and the son are, allegedly
Wait,
a
I don't
father
know
and
if it's
son.
white. It might be just an assistant
Like his
lady.
girlfriend or his secretary.
Yeah, because at one point the son goes, it's like my dad gave me a car he used for 2 years.
I have nothing against you. It's just my father always spoils everything. I mean, when he's had a car a couple of years, then he gives it to me.
My God, that's right. I forgot about that line. But the dad and the son are not discernibly different in age.
No, the dad is about 53 and the son's about 45.
Yeah. And the son looks like if Paul Williams was inflated.
The father's trying to get his son to fuck his wife/assistant/ex-girlfriend. We're not quite
Who
sure
knows?
their relation.
And she seems into it.
She's like, sure, but he's not really.
Yeah, he
paying
doesn't want to have sex
attention
with
to
me. Yeah.
I mean, he just sat and talked. He didn't even try to grab a tit.
Meanwhile, while we're being introduced to all these different people on the island, we're seeing these rabid dogs kind of show up. Our main guy, who you said the name of the actor, but I don't remember.
Joe Don Baker.
Joe Don
The great
Baker.
Joe Don Baker.
He's great. He's like, I saw one rabid
Mitchell.
dog and I'm not feeling really hot about it. So you guys, like, stay over here. He wants to go track down the dog.
He scared me. He's a bad one.
Little does he know, there's like 15 dogs like that.
Yeah. This is maybe a little esoteric, but Rich will understand what I'm talking about. There's a moment in this movie where Joe Don Baker is, like, kind of making out with his wife a little bit.
He's a cool guy in this movie.
He's basically playing himself, but there's a part where he's
I
like,
don't know him,
he's
so.
kind of making out with his wife a little bit, and then, like, their kid is like, hey, Dad, what's going on? And Joe Don Baker stops kissing his wife, and he just goes, what?
Dad!
What? And Rich will know what I'm talking about, but it's very reminiscent of a scene in Mitchell where he's, like, arguing with a small child, and he goes, hey, buzz off, kid!
You said piss off.
You're lying through your teeth.
You're lying through your teeth.
Piss off, huh?
Piss off.
Piss off, kid!
It was, I mean, it was the only thing I could think about. Joe Don Baker, a remarkable performance in this garbage movie, playing Joe Don Baker.
That family has a dog who is a good dog, and his name is Rye, and he gets bit by a bad dog.
Yes.
And basically they're like tending to his wounds when they figure out that there's more bad dogs. And there is a part where he tells his sons to let him watch TV. You know what he likes to watch.
Come inside, boys. Let him watch TV. You know what he likes to watch.
There's okay, the dialogue in this movie is, I really like whoever wrote this movie. I feel like the writing's really good, and the dialogue is sometimes surprisingly, like, funny and smart.
I feel like whoever wrote this new movie they were writing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they put on the TV for the dogs. There's a bunch of guys who hang out at the pub and everything. There's the local guys. There's the blind guy who has the seeing eye dog named Zsa Zsa. Probably after Zsa Zsa Gabor, I can only imagine.
I would imagine, yeah.
And there's one part where they're all talking about their wives or whatever, and he goes,
I'm not a widower and I'm not divorced. I'm a fella that didn't make the same mistake once.
Oh, women are terrible, aren't they?
Aren't they just a bitch?
Just the worst.
There are some kind of troublesome animal attacks and stuff that actually like made me upset when I watched them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of rooting for the dogs in this movie.
Like, the action was so. I feel like a lot of the attacks and stuff were very realistic.
Yeah.
And that I think that's what affected me because I was upset. Also, my dog was watching this with me as she usually does with most of the dog movies. And the only time she was paying attention was when the dogs were like crying and stuff.
Yeah, mine does that too.
So I was like, oh, it must be very realistic because you put down your toy and are looking at the screen now.
Yeah, Lily doesn't pay attention unless the dogs start moping, start whining really hard. Yeah, then she'll look at the TV.
And then she's like, I know what it's like
Yeah.
to be a sad girl, like our dogs. I really liked how this movie looked. I felt like it never got too dark, like lighting wise.
It reminded me a lot of Rottweiler.
It was
but good.
The 70s like earth and jewel tones.
Yes. It's very brown, very autumnal.
Wood paneling.
Yes.
Very autumnal. Wood paneling. Lots of great denim. Great button.
And there's like a good bar. There's like nice houses. Good
There's
decor.
a bar they always go back to.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like your ideal like 70s aesthetic movie.
It was almost like the people that made Rottweiler had seen this and were trying to do the same thing.
How could they?
But I mean, I don't know. I don't know the dates, so maybe I'm off on that one.
The adult son is on a walk with the blonde girl.
Why is she hanging out with him?
I was texting Matt. I was texting Matt during this, and then all of a sudden the adult son realizes there's more than one rabid dog in the woods because he hears multiple dogs howling.
There's more than one. Jerry said there was only one.
He starts running, and the girl's, wait, don't run, and is trying to chase him, which is like, yeah, dude, if you're out
and
with a
this
girl...
is one of the best movie deaths I've ever seen.
If you're out with a girl in the middle of the woods, don't just fucking run and ditch her. She's like, can you slow down? Like, she's literally just like, can you slow down and let me follow you?
But and then they chase him off a cliff.
Yeah, I don't even think they're chasing him yet. I feel like he's just scared. And we just see him fall.
It's almost as good as in Benji the Hunted when he tricks the wolf into jumping off the cliff.
It's similar
It's
vibes
like they
to that,
tricked
for
the
sure.
large adult son into plummeting to his own death.
Yeah, he did. And then all the guys are out trying to find him, and then they're like, no, dude, there's not just one rabid dog, there's like 15. They formulate a plot to lure all the rabid dogs into a house, and they're gonna light the house on fire with gasoline.
Ugh. I'm rooting for the dogs. I'm sorry.
These dogs are great. They're scary. They're like,
and they're really good performers.
They're legitimately,
they're good on camera dogs. One really mangy main one
with the
is terrifying.
They had to have like stuffed shit in its cheeks.
And he had like scars on his head and stuff.
So they try to light this house on fire, and they almost do, but these dogs are just so athletic, right?
Yes, I mean, like they really dominate everything.
Yeah, they're trying to get out. All this shit happens. I don't really know. It's like usually towards these dog movies, the last 15 minutes,
You're zoned out?
I'm zoned out because I'm just like, I've seen it. Let's just get to the end.
I think this one ended really well, but I don't want to give it away for the people at home. Also,
no, we give away all. If you're watching this and you don't want it to be given away, go pet your dog. They do end up blowing up the house with all the dogs in it.
Why'd you come back?
We saw the smoke.
They're in there.
And then there ends up being the dog from the beginning.
The one dog
that we saw at the beginning be tied to the tree when its tourist family left. And he looks really scared. and they're about to go shoot it, and then
Joe Don Baker comes
John-
up and like gives it some crackers.
Guy, bring me those crackers out of that glove compartment.
and then he licks his hand, and then it's freeze frame.
Yeah.
Freeze.
Maybe
love
there's some
that
hope. Maybe there's some
freeze
hope for that
frame on the
pup.
licked hand, because maybe, you know, dogs and humans can once again be best friends.
Dogs and bakers living together, mass hysteria.
I thought this movie was a lot of fun.
I loved it.
I thought it was way better than I was
3 out of
anticipating.
5 paws.
It was. I was watching this. I also give it that 3 out of 5.
Well, then 3 out of 4
Yeah,
paws.
for sure. While watching this, I enjoyed it so much that I kept being like, why didn't me and Kevin, why haven't we done this before? But I'm also happy that we have saved
I know
good ones
why.
for you.
I know why.
Why?
Kevin's a dipshit.
Dude, you...
And he's dead to me.
Okay, well, you guys, we
I
did
love
The Pack.
him. I love him so
Also,
much.
there is another movie called The Pack from, I think, 2015 Australian movie, which I do want to watch, but apparently it's not a remake of this.
Oh, okay.
But it's still about dogs.
It's about doggies?
Yeah, so
All right.
we'll get to
maybe,
it.
Maybe at some point.
Yeah.
We're going to do Wonton Ton next time.
And then maybe after that, if we're still feeling up to it, we'll do All Dogs Go to Heaven. But we don't want to give you guys too much of a schedule, so Wonton Ton is next.
Yeah. I really want to do All Dogs Go to Heaven at some point, though.
We will.
Saw that in the theater as a child.
That's good. All right, so you guys, you know what? I would recommend
Absolutely.
watch The Pack. If you're looking
Watch
for
The
like a spooky / action-y dog movie, really good stylish 70s vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely watch The Pack. It's a good one. I would actually recommend this one. So
I think, well, I mean, I have watched far fewer dog movies than you have in the course of shooting these episodes, but of the episodes I've been participating in, this is the best dog movie.
yeah, for
so
sure.
far.
So go check it out. The Pack.
We're recording this now, and Video Store Day is the day after tomorrow. But by the time you find people watch this episode, it'll be a week from Video Store Day.
That's true.
So thank you very much for
you.
all of your donations,
Yes.
for all of your support,
Yes.
for all your viewership, your subscriptions. Thank you for watching Viva Physical Media. Thank you for supporting Physical Media. Thank you for being our friends. We love doing this show. We love hanging out with you. We love your questions. We love interacting with you and telling you about all the stuff that we think is cool.
Yeah.
And so thank you for assuredly making Video Store Day one of the best Video Store Days in history.
And for making Viva Physical Media an actual show that is happening regularly.
We're coming up on 50 episodes.
Yeah, that's nuts. We'll have to do something
Very important.
very important. Email us viva@scarecrow.com. Tweet at us at physicalviva. Follow Scarecrow on all the social platforms. If you're in Seattle, check us out. We also do rent by mail, so go to scarecrow.com. And no matter where you are in the country, you can rent from us. And until next time, Viva.
The suspense is killing us. Oh, no, wait, that's a different thing. That's a different
also
show we do.
Check that out, though. Suspense is Killing Us
Yeah.
podcast. Viva Physical Media. Goodbye.
We love you. Bye.